everyone. How are you?
Good.
Good, thank you. I wanted to thank you all for taking the time to come and listen to what I believe is one of our forgotten presidents in history, Calvin Coolidge. Some could argue that with a $19 trillion and growing deficit and the lack of being able to balance out the federal budget has led to a more powerful government, which the Constitution was originally meant to protect us from. But first, let me set the scene and take you back in time, about a century to be exact. In the words of Russell Fowler, quote, "It was the Jazz Age, the Roaring '20s, a time of unbound change and energy. American achievement was only limited by the imagination. Towering buildings, bridges, dams, and monuments rose. There was breathtaking deeds in science and technology. Daring feats of exploration, creative explosions in art, architecture, music, literature, fashion, film, and the golden era of sport. From frivolous fads to flappers, from dance to Art Deco, so much was so very different." End quote. President Coolidge was a Republican, but most importantly, he was a strong constitutionalist. He believed in small government and allowed people to decide their own destinies. He graduated from Amherst College with honors and earned his law degree in 1897. From there, he began his career in politics in the state of Massachusetts. His first election, he won and became a councilman for the city of Northampton. Then he became a state representative, a mayor, a state senator, lieutenant governor, vice president, and ultimately becoming president on August 3rd, 1923, after the death of Warren Harding. Throughout his political career, he fought over controversial topics at that time period, such as a woman's right to vote and ending child labor. When he was mayor, he actually raised teachers' wages while also decreasing the city's deficit and wasteful spending, and also providing its citizens with tax cuts. Also, as governor, he resolved the Boston police strike in 1919 by taking on the AFL union president and firing police who went on strike, replacing them with a private militia. The Constitution ensures the right to public safety, and the police strike was causing chaos and crime all throughout Boston. WhiteHouse.gov describes Coolidge's presidency as such, quote, "Coolidge demonstrated his determination to preserve old moral and economic precepts amid the material prosperity which many Americans were enjoying. He refused to use federal economic power to check the growing boom or ameliorate the depressed condition of agriculture and certain industries," end quote. Meaning he didn't believe the Constitution gave the federal government the right to get involved with private corporations to pick winners and losers. He left them alone to do exactly what they were always meant to do: create their own success, create jobs in the private sector, and create competition within the marketplace. Coolidge made his plans as president very clear when he gave his first speech to Congress, December of 1923. He focused mainly on cutting wasteful government spending, providing tax cuts to all American people, and limited federal funding to farmers and other struggling industries at that time. Americans agreed with Coolidge's principles, and in 1924, he won the Electoral College and the popular vote and remained president for the next 4 years. Many could consider Calvin Coolidge as a do-nothing president because of his lack of government involvement in the struggling areas of the private sector. However, that do-nothing policy is exactly what led to one of the strongest economic times in American history. People and businesses were only limited to their imaginations, not government regulations. According to Charles Johnson's article, Lessons for Obama from Silent Cow, in 1920, a person making less than $5,000 paid an average of 15.4% of their earnings in federal income tax. By the end of Coolidge's presidency, in 1928, it was down to 0.4%. People making $100,000 or more paid an average of 65.2% of their income to the federal government. By 1928, it was down to 29.9%. During his administration, the nation saw the lowest unemployment rate in American history, averaging around 3%. By the end of his presidency, 98% of Americans didn't pay one dime towards federal income taxes. Overall, President Coolidge's policies are what led America through the Roaring '20s. Balancing budgets, reducing deficit and wasteful spending, empowering the American people is what makes us thrive as a nation, but not big government. Leaders in current day politics should take a note out of Coolidge's presidential playbook and the loyalty to the Constitution, because Coolidge proved less government equals a better economy and a stronger America. Break the chains of big government and regulations and let the people be free to do what they do best, prosper and succeed. President Coolidge's lack of government involvement and freedom of the American people is the exact reason why I chose to pay tribute to him. He is one of the greatest forgotten presidents in American history, and we should all know a little more about him. All in all, Calvin Coolidge said it best, quote, "If businesses can be let alone and assured of reasonable freedom from governmental interference and increased taxes, that we will I apologize. If business can be let alone and assured of reasonable freedom from governmental interference and increased taxes, that will do more than all kinds of legislation to relieve the depression. It will be part of wisdom to give business a free hand to supply their own remedies." Thank you very much.
Perfect.